Good evening to you all and welcome back to the RaceRoom Rank Championship Season 2 of 2023, and this week we turn back to the Porsche Carrera Cup for the second time after we saw Alessandro Ottaviani take a dominant win at Hockenheim last time out. We've now crossed the Alpine peaks and arrived here at Imola for round 2. My name is Darren Thacker, joined in the comms box by Zach Sweeney, and Zach, it's our first look at the success ballast in the Porsche Carrera Cup. Ottaviani, Luciano Wittfurt and Colin Blankenberg, by virtue of finishing in the top 3 last time out, are going to be affected. Do you think it'll have much of an impact here at Imola? It is a tight, twisty circuit, so will it have much of an impact?
Yeah, obviously there you can see the standings after round 1. So it's going to be 25 kilos for Ottaviani, 18 and 15 for Wittfurt and Blankenberg respectively. A little bit of a spoiler before we head into qualifying. Ottaviani is not really working too much for him at the moment. Would be nice if it did a little bit more, but I think it's just a testament to how quick the Italian driver is. But all in all, in theory, it should work. Of course, with weight, you increase your mass, and therefore, the car becomes a little bit more sluggish, a little bit less agile. Doesn't really want to work with you as such, and obviously does slow it down in the straights, bogs it down in acceleration, and just makes it feel, funnily enough, a little bit more heavy through the corners. So in theory it should have a big effect. Maybe over the course of the 20 minutes and half an hour race that we've got, it will have a bigger effect than it does in qualifying. It all remains to be seen. Let's see if we can stop Ottaviani from running away.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because he very much did run away in Hockenheim in both race 1 and race 2. Of course, race 1 20 minutes, as you can see. Race 2 30 minutes. Of course, the 50 minutes of action from Imola upcoming after we get through qualifying, which, as you said, Ottaviani is currently topping. But as I mentioned before, we were at the Hockenheim ring a few weeks ago, but we'll be going to Donington and Bathurst in the Porsche Carrera Cup for Season 2. Great calendar again, Zach. I mean, we had a good one in the MX-5s, and again, the Rank Championship, 12 tracks for 12 weeks. It's really serving up some interesting little calendars.
It really is. I do like the 12-week, 12-track format. Obviously, it wasn't, such a bad thing last season, with each of the series following each other, but we really do open ourselves up. We get to explore all the wondrous different options that we do have on the platform of RaceRoom, and there are some really good picks out there. Obviously, the MX-5's taken their little American tour across North America. This calendar, though, for the Porsche Carrera Cup is fantastic. Donington in 3 weeks' time is going to be the week I'm off the commentary booth. I'm going to be taking my break week for that one, which I'm absolutely gutted about. And then 3 weeks later we go, a few more weeks after that because of the Christmas break and things, but when we go to Bathurst, that is also going to be an absolute ton of fun. So I think Porsche Carrera Cup, as they all have, has got an absolutely smashing calendar. Here today at Imola, though, should be fun. I mean, it's going to be tight, it's going to be twisty. You're going to have to really work at some overtakes.
Absolutely, of course. One of the classics is that you can see on your screen, 1953 is when it's opened. Of course, I've seen a few changes since then, but of course, one of the classic tracks on any calendar, GT particularly. You see some great racing action through there, but we'll have to see if we can see it in these Porsche Carrera Cups, which we hopefully will. Of course, turn 1, the road down to it, of course, not exactly straight. You do see some instance down towards that opening corner, and it could be possible that we see that again today. We hope not, but with looking at upwards of 34 drivers on the grid, we might see a little bit of a collision down into turn 1.
For sure. I mean, it is a fairly long run from the line to at the first braking zone. So obviously with slipstream and things, a poor start, you can very much open up the can of worms in that regard, especially off the race start. Could we see some silly moves made? Potentially. I think the big action zone is going to be a couple of corners later going into Villeneuve, because if you've got a run, Sure, fair enough. It's a decent overtaken opportunity, you know, if the circumstance is right. But in those opening few moments where everyone's bunched up and one small mistake sets off a Constantina effect in the background, you can have cars trying to send it 3 wide into that chicane. And let me tell you, it's probably not going to work too well. So the opening lap, I think, is going to be one these guys are going to have to take with a ton of caution.
Absolutely. And you won't want to make a big mistake in race 1 because that could affect your run through race 2 as well. Of course, you don't want to find yourself behind 30 drivers you ideally wouldn't want to be behind. So we'll have to see how that pans out. Of course, this is the car in the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup. It's a cracking little car, good for racing. It's a bit like the MX-5 in the way that it's good for racing, not necessarily the most luxurious, most exciting car, but when it comes to wheel-to-wheel action, it really is up there.
We talk about luxurious. You telling me you wouldn't want a nice little Porsche 911 GT3 car? Come on, Dara. Have some taste.
I'd love a Porsche. No, of course, I'd love a Porsche 911, but it's not necessarily. Not if you had all the money in the world and you had to buy a racing car. It's not the first you pick.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, I have taste.
Exactly his first car to pick.
I love this. I think it sounds immaculate. I like the way. They look, obviously, they look stunning, especially with the roster of liveries that we've got. Some of them, mwah, absolutely chef's kiss. As I say, I love the way it sounds, love the way it looks. Haven't really driven one in sim racing as such because, well, the first time I did it, it was very pointy and it scared me. But it does take a very special craft to tame these beasts, and yeah, I think they're fantastic. The racing that you get in these Porsches are awesome as well. And yeah, all in all, I can't complain with it. I think it is great. That one is probably one of my favourite of the bunch in terms of liveries. Very colourful. But yeah, all in all, I think the Porsche, as you say, similar to the MX-5, sort of that club level style of racing, low downforce, lower power, still a decent amount, but you get great racing, especially when you pair it with great drivers like this.
Absolutely, and you can see on your screen some of the best drivers on the RaceRoom platform. Luciano Vitford, he pops up everywhere, of course. He was here last week in the MX-5 Cup and will be here next week in the Praga Cup. Alessandro Ottaviani, of course, won last time out. Colin Blankenberg, of course, much pedigree, as well as every other name on this list. I mean, there's some fantastic names that we see week in, week out in this ranked championship. And it is always fun, isn't it, just to see them in different categories of car pitted up against each other because, you know, the racing is slightly different, but the drivers are the same.
Yeah, I think with RaceRoom Esports, especially, we have got a fair few familiar names, but there are so many familiar names because you've got so many people from so many different backgrounds that have all fought their way sort of through the rank system in RaceRoom. You know, this isn't an invite, well, it kind of is an invite sort of server, but you can earn your place here. This isn't just exclusive to the people in the best esports teams that, you know, get themselves onto high-level grids. You guys at home can very much get yourself involved in the broadcast split. All you've got to do is have your rating and, of course, your safety rating as well high enough in order to, as a ratio, your reputation, of course, you know, how clean you are, and then obviously your rating, how quick you are. The ratio of those, the higher that is, the more chance you're going to be in a higher split. You could very well be on this grid. But when we're talking about the one that we've got, you know, the Ottavianis, the Blankenbergs, the Mihai Noj, Christian Orbans, Luciano Vitford, Mariusz Sabdir, those types of people all come to come to your mind because they are constantly fighting at the top level of each and every single ranked event that we go to. I mean, when was the last time we did a 2.4 hour of something and the two Blankenbergs weren't racing, right? Like, that sort of vein. They are always there, always competing at the top level, always trying to do something different, and I love it. And as you say, with the vast variety of cars and track combinations that we've got on RaceRoom, it lends itself to have all these fantastic drivers battle out in so many different formats of racing, so many different disciplines, so many cars and tracks where you demand a different style of driving. It is amazing, and I think the ranked championship as well, the fact they're fighting for something, adds an extra, even deeper element to that.
Absolutely, and on your point about earning your place, I mean, you and I were talking to Charlie Monk last week after the MX-5 Cup, and he was saying that he was going to have to try and improve his rating a bit and reputation to try and get in this top split here this evening. And there, as you can see him on your left-hand side of the screen on the timing tower, so he has indeed done that. But that's what you can do here in RaceRoom. But we've got the drivers. They will have had to have started their last runs now because, of course, in RaceRoom, when the timer hits 0, that is the end of the session. You cannot finish the lap you are currently on. That is it. So the drivers, if they want to be improving their lap times, have to have started their lap. And Luciano Vitfort is coming around Ravazza to the final corner, real meaningful corner on the racetrack, as he will come up to the line. Currently P9, maybe suffering a little bit from that success ballast, but to the line he will come. Let's see what his time is, and he does jump up to P7, a couple of positions up now, and agonisingly close to Mihai Nej there. But I'm not too sure if there are many others improving their time. I think Lysa and Ornalash at the back might be, but the guys at the front end, at the sharp end, I should say, I think this is pretty much the order that we're going to see.
Yeah, I think so. Alessandro Ottaviani will be taking pole position. To be fair, only 2 tenths ahead of Colin Blankenberg and Strateman, of course, up there in third. So already looking to be a fairly close and competitive grid. Let's see how that success ballast affects Ottaviani, because, 25 kilos, it might not seem a lot, but, it is. Especially when you're talking about racing as close as this, and there you go, there's the results. That's how we're going to line up for race 1.
Yeah, it'll be Ottaviani on pole, Blankenberg alongside him. Streitmans will be hoping to get a good run down towards the opening corner, along with Petterman. David Nemček in P5 with Mihai Nej, and Luciano Vitfort down in P7. Orban, Krevi and Beckett round out the top 10 with, it's 9 different nationalities in that top 10, but nice and diverse. We have a few Swedes further down, but the run down towards turn 1 is going to be important. There you can see a couple of the Swedes. Botti, Noj, Marvin Mackenberg, that is. Daniel Stephenson, Bjorn Brown, Ontis, Lichtenhagen and Klavner are your top 20, and we'll just let the rest roll through. But yeah, I think a run to turn 1 will be important in when it's Zach, but of course, it's a long way to go. 20 minutes and then 30 minutes of racing. You can make your moves over that time.
You really can. I think the length of the races are pretty good. I mean, 20 minutes, it's still a sprint race, but you still have to think long term. It's not a one-lap dash where you just think, this is it, I have to send it. You still have time to methodically go through the stages of a race, getting off the start, getting a punchy get out the gate, settling into a rhythm, and then thinking long term how you want to set yourself up for those final 5 minutes. And then we do it all again for race 2, which is 30 minutes in length, even more so that in that sense. I think they are good lengths because, again, you have the dynamic of that what you would have with a slightly longer race, in, as I say, in the stages and bedding yourself in, but you also don't lose the magic and the chaos of what can happen with a sprint race.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's definitely something we're going to have to bear in mind as we run through the opening races. Of course, there you go. You can see those standings. Nico Kunze missed out on, I say missed out, will be pleased that he won't have any success ballast on his car this evening by virtue of being 4th in the championship, but he might improve his position just that little bit this evening, but we'll have to wait and see. Ottaviani does look imperious, doesn't he? After the first round pole, winning race 1, winning race 2, never looked in doubt. I think he was in the lead for every single metre of the 50 minutes of racing last time out. Hopefully it'll be slightly different tonight. We'll hopefully see some good racing for the lead, but the likes of Vitfort and Blankenberg are going to have to be right on their game tonight, aren't they?
They really are, and with it obviously only being a 4-round season, of course, with the way the points work, same with the MX-5s, each round is its own mini championship, so the aggregate points of race 1 and race 2 added together, and then it's the highest point scorer of the evening that then takes first, second, third in the points award for the official standings that you see there. So with it only being 4 rounds long, each round accounts for 25% of the entire points all of the season, which means you can't at all afford to have an off week, Dara. I mean, even an off race can be harmful at times. With it obviously not having any reverse grids in the Porsche Carrera Cup, you start where you finish. One bad move can be disastrous.
Absolutely, and here we go then. 20 minutes of race 1 about to get underway here from Imola, and we are away off the line. It's a good start, looks like, from Blankenberg from the front row, but I think Ottaviani might just have covered him on the run down towards turn 1. To the left, they're going to be 2-3 wide in the mid-pack as we see Blankenberg around the outside as they come to this opening chicane. Petterman on the inside might have a little bit of a look as they are 2-3 wide in the background. Let's see if they all manage to get their way through. Botti and Beckett fighting their way through as well. But Ottaviani, he's got away at the start. It's important. Oh, there's someone off the back. Well, that is Stephenson, the German, right at the back, and he will slip all the way to the back of the field. But it's a good start for Ottaviani, the championship leader. He's got exactly what he wanted off the start as they still pile their way through.
They are a huge incident, unfortunately, on the opening lap. Just saw him completely dart off the road, off the exit of the Tamburello chicane. Couple of people running side by side through Tosa, but it all fizzles itself out into single file, particularly that fight at the front. Alessandro Ottaviani is in a dangerous territory here, and Colin Blankenberg is going to have to be fighting him and pushing him to his absolute limit in order to not lose touch of the Italian who ran away with last week, well, 3 weeks ago, I should say. He's leading as it stands in lap 1, but Blankenberg is keeping him honest for now. You can see they're breaking away a little bit from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, Petterman a little bit worried about David Nemček behind him, and you can see for a reason why. He just ducks out of the slipstream towards the Variante Alta for the first time in this race. They all filed their way through. A couple of people going to move down the inside for the first time as they visit this chicane, but Ottaviani still does lead comfortably, and as you said, Petterman is falling away. Colin Blankenberg, we'll have to see if he can recuperate some of that time, but at the moment he's got some work to be doing. And the train behind him, it's full of names that you don't necessarily want to see in your wing mirrors. Nej, Wittfurt, Streitmann, Orban, just to name a few.
Oh, if there's one driver on this grid I wouldn't want in my rearview mirrors, it's Luciano Wittfurt. He is an absolute missile, and in the best way possible. He's so aggressive, he gets the moves done when they need to. Up at the front, is there going to be any changes? David Nemček looking to go for the move on Petterman, but not quite close enough on this particular occasion. The German is heading a little bit of a Petterman express with Nemček, Nej, Wittfurt, Strateman and Orban all in the mix, so definitely keeping him under pressure. Let's see what Wittfurt can do. You can see partially defensive is Petterman going into the Villeneuve chicane. He very much is sort of on the back foot. His pace not too great, and there could be David Nemček looking to go to the inside of the hairpin.
Yeah, and he's just dummied down in towards Tosa. He went to the outside and then ducked back into the inside to try and get past Petterman. Doesn't look like it's worked out just yet. Petterman will have the inside line for Piratella, but there's a little bit of contact maybe as they rise the hill. But now the inside line for Nej as he's trying to find his way through. Off the track then goes Petterman, as then it looks like Luciano Wittfurt is now trying to get involved. All of these guys going side by side through Aqua Minerale now. It's Wittfurt through on the inside. Oh, but there's a spin with Streitmann, so I didn't see if he got tagged there, but he is spun around and will lose a couple of positions. Hopefully emerging onto the track safely, just about does. No one is hurt by his car recovering, but some bit of drama between some of the cars near the front. Wittfurt finds his way through in front of Nej, but Botti and Norge as well having some fights with Streitmann.
Yeah, just showing the raceability of this car already. Still got 16 minutes and 37 seconds left to go in order to enjoy it. Hopefully there's more to come, showcasing obviously how close these cars can run, how much trust these drivers put into each other. Bit of a shame for the Belgian driver of Strateman, though. That is, you know, it happens going into Aqua Minerale. It's a difficult corner, braking and turning, especially with how sort of pitchy this Porsche is. A little bit of side-by-side action in the background. I think that might be Bilus and Braun. Indeed, it is side-by-side between the pair of them. Who is Lichtenhagen going to give the slipstream to as they batter their way towards the first chicane? Bit of argy-bargy as they rub doors, running their way through, giving them a big squeeze. They fly Noah's Ark into the onto the grass there in the background as well. I think that might be Mish fighting away with Braun, and there you can see Lichtenhagen getting away after, well, potentially maybe even causing a little bit of that chaos.
And we are seeing some great racing, aren't we? In the first couple of laps and getting very, very out of shape on the exit of turn 3. I'm not too sure how that was, but Botti, he looks like he may have gone around as a yellow flag in this sector, and there he is, I think. Yes, we're looking at him now, dropping down behind Petter Daniel and Krevi, the Finnish driver, is now up into the top 10. So we've got a few of those drivers back there who have lost positions. Botti, Beckett, of course, who started P10, and Streitmann, who, of course, got sent spinning at Aqua Minerale. So we've got a few guys who have benefited on these opening laps. Marvin Mackenberg, undoubtedly one of them, up into P8 now. He's trying to make his way up to the top 7 with those incidents. It's strung out a little bit at the front, but despite the fact that Petterman is now over 3 seconds behind Blankenberg is still right on the back of Ottaviani now.
To be fair, yeah, Ottaviani I think is looking in his rearview mirrors a little bit as to another car behind me without blue flags. What is going on? And Blankenberg is really giving me a good fight. And I think it's important for him to do so. Stay putting him under pressure, as there is Bilu, unfortunately having a bit of an issue here at the Variante Alta. He's able to get back going again almost immediately, and immediately put some pressure on Clark going into Ravazza. In fact, ahead going into Ravazza. Well, that's one way to brush up the slight mistake. Also there you can see Bjorn moving his way past Janssen as well for 30th place on this grid, but that's unfortunate for Belouz, as they were back at the front. Though we've got a bit of a train here forming behind Noj.
Yeah, Noj will have to be looking at his rearview mirrors with quite interest in his eyes, because of course Noj, Noj and Nej. That's not two greatest names to have right next to each other, but they are
great,
fighting.
Right?
Yeah, it's great to watch, but it's not great for us trying to work out who we're talking about as they come into Tosa. But of course, thankfully they have different liveries. If they have the same livery, it would be a nightmare. But here they go into Tosa. Oh, that is Peter Daniel fighting away. Is that an inside line? They're trying to make it 3 wide. There could be Botti in the back. Oh, that is a massive incident. Oh my word, that is airborne time for Peter Daniel. And I'm not sure how that happened, if I'm honest.
Was that not Botti that took off momentarily? I'm not entirely sure. I know it was Botti that spun him round initially, and then Peter Daniel just decided to go to space. I mean, that's one way to kick things off in this race. Wonder how that looked from the cockpit view. There is Juana on the back of Ontis going through Aqua Minerali, having to stay behind for now. So much carnage, so much chaos, but such an easily avoidable accident. It was just, I think, trying to take that inside line, trying to get the move done, a little bit of an irrational decision to make, thinking too quickly in haste, and understood on the exit, tapped him round, and well, away they went.
That is his firmly up in the air.
Way!
Right near
nice!
of the order. I didn't spend the entire time you were talking trying to think of some kind of fun for that. But anyway, here we go. Weaving now from Noj as Nej tries to get past him. But up further in front, David Nemchak is trying to get past Martin Petterman into the Tamburello chicane. Not quite this time around. But he does have a very good run through the first chicane. But that is Marvin Mackenberg on the grass through the gravel. And that is not the current layout of the track. That might be one of the more classic layouts of this Imola circuit, but in 2023 that is not how you take the opening corner, and he will find himself now behind Orban in P9. But as they come through for Tosa one more time, there is some real chaos in only just the first 8 minutes of this race.
Yeah, I mean, you can take that layout all you like, you just won't be very quick, as Marvin Mackenberg very quickly found out. Side by side here, Tvana fighting away with Jesper Ontis and Lufgren as well in the fight for 16th. The two Swedes go side by side through Tosa. They can see also Liesler and Charlie Monk trying to get himself involved. He's up a few places, to be fair. I think he started towards the back end of the 20s and is now fighting to get himself inside at the top 20 amongst these guys, side by side going into the Piratella. Not quite close enough, I don't think, or it might not have the right line in order to seal the move. In fact, I think he has done. He settled ahead of the German. Charlie Monk, no bias, he doesn't follow me on Twitter or anything, but he's doing all right up inside the top 20.
Follow me either. Oh, that's Peter Daniel. Oh, it's gone from bad to worse for him. He's spun around Aqua Minerale once again. On that instant for Daniel, I have noticed actually in the YouTube chat that Alessandro Botti did just say we couldn't see anybody for a bit and then the game crashed, which may explain what we saw occur at Tosa. But either way, we'll have a look at Petterman with Nemchak, and now Luciano Witwer is firmly on the rear wing of the Slovakian now. He is all over the back. For P4, he is renowned for moving his way up through the field during the races. He did it incredibly well last week in the MX5 Cup at Mid-Ohio, and he's trying to do the same here in Imola. But you can see if he can do it. Should have a nice run through 2 and 3 with a much better line than David Nemchak. We'll have to see down towards the Villeneuve chicane if he can get enough of a run to make a move. I don't think he will, as they carry on down through this, what's now lap 6. They've lost, definitely. Oh, as that is a big jump over the curb from Witwer. They've lost a lot of time to the two up front, but they are still battling way between them here.
They are indeed. That was, of course, trying to look for the move on Nemchak, I think, eventually, but Witwer had to back out in the end. Petterman fighting tooth and nail for that podium. Fair play to him. He's done a brilliant job of keeping it just ahead. We've got the Hungarian and the Romanian fighting away between Naj and Noj for 6th and 7th. Being told that, unfortunately, Naj is on the ping limit, so it may be a case that unfortunately he does get kicked from the session, because at the end of the day, oh my goodness me, David Nemchak very wide coming out of the exit of Aqua Minerali, a big slide on the exit as well. Now Luciano Witwer is going to pick his nose to the right hand side. Is he going to be able to get his way past into Variante Alta? Yes, he is. David Nemchak, to be fair, I mean, it was an easy mistake to make, but an even more difficult one to save and bring back.
Yeah, we saw it, didn't we? About half a lap ago at the Villeneuve chicane, where Witwer had a bit of a bounce over the curb and a bit of a rear slide as well, but it hurt Nemček a bit more than it hurt the Dutchman as they run through now. But we can see here Noj and Nej still fighting it out. I will be very pleased when these two separate from each other, because my brain will finally start to work once again. Noj defending to the inside, Nej trying to pick up a slipstream, but also looking in his rear mirror for Orban. You can just about see the Hungarian in his rearview mirror, but the three of them have a blanket over the three of them as they run down towards turn one, nose to tail. Inside line maybe here then for Nej, and he is on the stoppers, and he's got it just about stopped in time. He should be up into P6 unless Noj can come back at him. Orban as well might have something to say about this.
Oh, indeed so. Ducking and diving, searching for the gap is Noj. Let's see what he can do going into the Villeneuve. Not quite close enough, but Christian Orban, very much a driver that will not back out of a fight if you give him that opportunity. He's thinking about it, trying to find a way past, but no way through for now. A brilliant move, it must be said, from the Romanian, who picks his way into 6th place and now can try and maybe work at getting away. The best he's going to be able to do, though, I fear, is going to be that 6th place, but get what you can get. And, well, all it's going to do as well is give him a better stepping stone going into race 2, because you start where you finish. So a 3rd race start as opposed to a 4th race start, definitely not a bad way to kick things off, especially considering his pace isn't half bad either.
It's in effect a red flag, isn't it? A stoppage where everyone just goes back out in the same positions and we have a standing start on the grid. But of course, race 2's points count a little bit more than the points in race 1, so they'll be more keen to pick up positions then than they are now. And of course, in this race, they'll be thinking about their starting position for race 2 and maybe a little bit more cautious, not go for it too much, because they think, oh, if I just stay in behind and conserve my time, I'll have half an hour to get through coming up. Ottaviani still leads. Up to this point, he's led every single lap. That is now 58 minutes, nearing an hour of this Porsche Carrera Cup season, and he wouldn't mind that continuing. Especially if it goes all the way to the end of the season. That'd be quite a feat if he was able to do it, but of course a very, very long way to go before then as he bounces over the curbs. Tamburello, Blankenberg definitely keeping him honest in this race. We'll have to see if he can get a good launch at the start of race 2, maybe get a jump on the Italian. Of course, in his home race is the only Italian, looking at the order, I think, in the field. So, you know, at the home race, if there's only going to be one of you, you might as well win it.
That's true. I mean, obviously you've got Alessandro Botti as well, who unfortunately is no longer a part of this race, but
yes,
was. But maybe for future rounds and whatever, maybe we could have them fighting away. But yeah, of course, for your home round, you want to impress, and Ottaviani is doing nothing but impressing at the moment. Colin Blankenberg, though, setting the quickest lap of the race. I do love when we've got two drivers like Ottaviani and Blankenberg fighting so hard at the front like they are doing. Only 3/4 of a second separate them. And right now, they're both purple to the first sector, quicker of anyone. They're constantly pushing each other to that extra little inch of pace that they can get, that extra couple of tenths, as Bjorn and I think Ornelas fighting away for 23rd place in the grid. But yeah, Blankenberg, Ottaviani constantly trying to find the limit because they've got to in order to compete.
Yeah, and they're both about a 1/10.5 up on the fastest time on this lap, both of them. And to put it into perspective, Petterman is 5/10 down on this lap alone on the front two, which just shows how good their pace has been during this race. Nej as well showing some good pace, so is Villacrevi back in P10. So they are some drivers especially to watch out for, particularly in race 2, if they can't make many more moves in race 1. But we'll have a look at Beckett now. Lichtenhagen on the back of him. He will have to beware, of course, the British driver, Brazilian in behind, just dropping a tyre into the gravel, it seemed, through a Ratsa 1. Isn't going to do him a world of good, but he looks like he's ahead for now. But the slipstream will be helping Lichtenhagen as they run down towards turn 1. They'll be side by side as they cross the start-finish line there. And I think it'll be Lichtenhagen who will have this position by the time they get to turn 1. And indeed, he is a long way in front to the braking zone. And I don't think Beckett's going to fight this one into it. No, he's not. So up into P12 is now Lichtenhagen as we now go back to this fight. Orban is on the back of Noj, who has been dropped by Nej, who is now chasing after David Nemček.
Yeah, and to be fair, not a million miles away from him either. There's only about a 2-second gap between the two of them, so that 6th place could well easily turn into a top 5 if there are any more mistakes from Nemček or even more battling in behind Petterman. Let's see, but with only 5 minutes left to go, time is a luxury and not one that you can really take for granted, not one that these guys have got an abundance of either. You've got Nej under pressure from Christian Orban, who is trying to put some pressure on to his fellow countrymen and move his way into 7th place, and equally he's being put under pressure by Mackenberg. It's one of of the worst positions to be in. Looking forwards and looking backwards is really pushing the limits there. A bit of a twitch on the exit in order to find some space.
And as they come to the Variante Alta, very defensive line there from Norwich. Orban looking almost for an outside line into that chicane. And Mackenberg might just say, okay, you guys find it out. I'll get the racing line and try and get a good enough exit from the two of you. But I think it's going to work this time out towards Ravazza 1. And he'll have to settle for P9 at the moment. Of course, very weird to just see Marvin Mackenberg on his brother Sven in this session. I was looking up and down there for his brother, but couldn't see him. And I was surprised because those two are always in a race together. Not this week, it seems, but Marv Mackenberg carrying the flag will hope to be picking up as many positions as he can. Hopefully P7 he will hope in this race. As we see coming down into turn 1, it is the likes of Mackenberg, of course, the likes of Noj, who we always consistently see up there near the front, and that's why they've got such a good reputation. They're always good in all categories of cars, and you know, they're always in the 2.4 hours races, and you know, in the ranked championships, in every championship as well. So no surprise to see them up there, but you know, maybe slightly disappointing for them this week, just to be not near the front. But when you've got Ottaviani, Blankenberg, Petterman, and Vitford up there, it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing, is that obviously these grids are so good that being on the grid in and of itself is an achievement. Then fighting for, you know, top 30, top 20, top 15, top 10, top 5, podium, win, whatever. Those are then separate achievements. And obviously, you know, on their day, you know, the likes of Orban and Mackenberg and Gravy and Stratman, you know, right now they're fighting for the back end of the top 10. On their day, they could fight for top 5s, for podiums, for wins, because they have got the capability to do that. But because of how competitive this championship is, because of how good these drivers are, that is constantly changing, and there are fine margins, a swing of a couple of tenths either way. So, it is always going to be a little bit more difficult to succeed on a regular basis. I think that speaks as to just how good Ottaviani is in order to be the piece of continuity in this competition. Now we've got Martin Petterman under pressure from Luciano Vitford coming on to the penultimate lap of this race. Time is running out for the Flying Dutchman. If he wants to get that podium place, he's going to have to find a way to do it quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, as you mentioned, penultimate lap. I was working that out just before you mentioned it. So as they come down towards turn 1, it'll be Luciano Vitford looking for yet another podium in the RaceRoom Ranked Championship. Will he go for the inside? Will he go for the outside? Will he not go for it at all this time around? The answer is, of course, the latter, as he'll just stay in behind and try pick his way through. Of course, the time is, of course, running out, a lap and a half to go for him to do so. Oh, as he dips his tyre, carved out, say, 2 wheels into the gravel, but in the end it was all 4 into the gravel on the exit of that Tamburello chicane. He's just got to be careful. He's got to draw the car back up together to try and go after Petterman here. But of course, if he can get past Petterman, he will be having a free run at the top 2 when we restart for race 2. Of course, those 3, Ottaviani, Blankenberg and Vitford, are the 3 with the success ballast. And at the rate we're going, it looks like they'll be having it again next time out. Yeah,
fair play to him, because it's not easy to drive well with success ballast. For people thinking, well, yeah, but it's only an extra couple kilos. Like, that's just putting an extra couple bags of sugar in your boot. Like, it's not going to make that big of a difference, is it? Trust me, it does. When you're in a, you know, in a discipline like motorsport, where your setup can come down to points, you know, decimal points of a degree, 0.1 of a degree, for your toe or your camber or whatever, that can make a difference. Per kilogram added is, you know, a certain amount of time that they're going to lose over the course of a lap. It does make a difference. The analogy I always give that is a huge slide from Blankenberg as we head on to the final lap. If he wants this win, he's going to have to absolutely push and make the most of the fact that he's a slightly lighter car than Ottaviani. But when I picked up my toolbox from good old Halford's, I put it in my boot, and I was like, my car feels so slow now. It feels so heavy. And then I realised it's because I've got a toolbox in the back of my car, and it really did put into perspective just how much of a difference weight can make. And you don't think of it. It's just, you know, this. I don't really know how to sort of give it an analogy, but it is there, and you can feel it. And Petterman is under a ton of pressure. He can definitely feel this pressure from Vitford. But yeah, either way, what I am trying to say in the most awkward way possible is that weight makes a difference, but Vitford, Blankenberg and Ottaviani are driving through it phenomenally.
To the inside, hoping that it won't weigh him down through these final corners. Around the outside of the second part of the Villeneuve chicane, he's going to get pushed into the gravel, bouncing his way over, and that might be the end of his challenge. Always nice, of course, to get an eye into the life of Zach Sweeney, which is, of course, what we just got there. But Vitford he will be focused on the race, as Krevi will be focused on defending from Streitmans. But Ottaviani looks comfortable out front ahead of Blankenberg. And it's looking like it's going to be 3 race wins in a row for him in this championship.
See if he makes it 4 going into race 2. Blankenberg, he's been there, but I think Ottaviani has been a little bit more comfortable. Blankenberg just needs that little step up, just that little bit extra, that extra tenth or so that puts him into contention, because he's not really touched Ottaviani in terms of pressure. He's just been in his rearview mirror, which sometimes can be enough. But I think for race 2, he's got to bring the fire and got to put the Italian under pressure.
Absolutely. As they come around the final corner of Atsa 2 for the final time in race 1, it will be Alessandro Ottaviani who takes yet another win in the Porsche Carrera Cup of Season 2 of the RaceRoom Ranked Championship. I've combined the words, so that should be the new name. But Ottaviani wins. Blankenberg will come home second. I just see Vitford actually seems to have picked up third ahead of Petterman. I'm not sure, unless I looked away for 2 seconds and I missed that. Vitford is now ahead of Petterman. Nemchek and Nej, Orban, Mackenberg, Krevi and Streitmans will be the top 10. But it's good races at the back. Look at that, from Charlie Monk up to 16th. I feel like he started near 25th, 26th place. A good result for him. See Mish come through, but these are the results. Alessandro Ottaviani is your winner along with the fastest lap. Blankenberg wasn't far off in terms of time or in that fastest lap, and Luciano Vitford did complete the podium position. Petterman, Nemchek, Nej, 4th, 5th and 6th with Orban, Mackenberg, Krevi and Streitmans rounding off the top 10. As we do have Lichtenhagen, Beckett, Braun, Ontis, Klavner, Charlie Monk, of course, who did actually make up 13 positions in that race. Löfgren, Mish, Liza and Bjorn ran out the top 20. We'll let the rest come through. But again, Zach, good race from Ottaviani. It's what we probably should have expected. But will he be able to carry it through into that second race of the evening?
Let's find out. I mean, I don't see why race 2 is going to be any different. I mean, it's 10 minutes longer. Maybe with those extra 10 minutes, Blankenberg could have done something in order to contend. But I think the important thing for Blankenberg is to take control. Early on, get a good start. I know this is obviously very much easier said than done, but Blankenberg needs a good launch, take the lead into turn number 1, and then just try and keep Ottaviani under pressure. Because in that race, the Italian was like, all right, I'm the quickest driver. Yeah, he's there, but as long as I keep to my marks, as long as I keep to my lines, he's just going to be focusing forward, not really having to defend, not really under a ton of pressure. But the moment he is, maybe we could start to see some cracks in the Veloce drivers' defences as such. So I think for Blankenberg, the important thing is going to be to take control. They've also got Luciano Vitford to contend with. He obviously didn't get off to the best of start and was fighting 12 seconds behind. Give him a fight going into turn number 1 and a chance for a lead. Don't count him out.
Absolutely not, and he'll have the best slipstream, you'd argue. And down towards turn 1, of course, behind the front 2, especially if Blankenberg gets a little bit of a better start than Ottaviani, and they're side by side towards the opening corner. It means that Vitford can try and pick his line, but of course that will only be if Vitford gets a really good start, which of course isn't a given. But Ottaviani will be hoping to just say bye-bye to the field again. We'll hope to lead every single metre of every single race this season, as he has done up to this point. But of course, if you look at the championship there on your screen, Vitford and Blankenberg, 2nd and 3rd. Of course, they would be level on points if they were to finish 2nd and 3rd again here this evening, just the other way around. So they're having their own little battle if they can't catch Ottaviani. So that'll be in the back of their minds. If they can't beat Ottaviani, got to beat the other contender, you have to say, in the championships. That'll be what they're thinking about. But half an hour worth of racing is a long time to try and make those moves stick. But of course, as we saw, run down towards turn 1 could be very important and can be quite sketchy. We did see that instant at the exit of Tamburello, didn't we? Yeah,
we see a lot of chaos happen sort of in that first sector. But yeah, all in all, take a little bit of an air of caution because we've got a big grid here, right? I mean, we started race 1 with 34 cars, I believe, which is a lot of Porsches going into turn 1 here at Imola. Obviously, with it being a chicane as well, and with those massive sausage curbs on the inside, be careful. You know, you've got 30 minutes of racing. It's not won on the opening lap, but it can be lost. That is the important thing. Don't rush. You've got time, is what I'm saying. Yeah, obviously, you can make some good places up on lap 1. I'm not saying don't. I'm not saying, completely isolate yourself from the pack. Just think twice. Just think, is it worth it? Can I get that done in a lap's time or whatever? Just play it safe, think the long game. Yeah, it's only 30 minutes in length, but as I said in qualifying, you are still thinking long term, you're still thinking where you want to be in 25 minutes time, chances are it's not going to be in the barrier.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm surprised, actually, when you mentioned those sausage chips, you didn't say that they were as tall as me. I was waiting for that one, but it didn't come. Yeah, I know, you've missed out now.
It's a good one.
You've missed out. I know, right? I was fully expecting that.
I'll find it. I'll find a way, don't you worry.
We'll mention it at some point in the future. I have no doubt about that. But here we go. Race 2 is about to get underway. Ottaviani, of course, on pole once again. 4th time in this season that he'll start from pole. Can he convert it again? Lights are on for this 30-minute race, and now they are gone as Luciano Itfit does have a very good launch off the second row, and he'll have a great slipstream on the back of Ottaviani on the run down towards turn 1. It's a pretty even start from most of the grid in the top 10. Vitfoot will definitely have a look at the inside at turn 1, but Blankenberg is going to be looking at the outside as they come into this opening chicane. Nemchak and Betterman are fighting out, as well as we do have a collision before turn 1. Brown and Ontis slipping down the order, but as we see, no moves right at the front, but Vitfoot does look very keen to get past Blankenberg as they come into the Villeneuve chicane. Disaster for a couple of them off the start, right at the back of the field, but a little bit of contact as well between Vitfoot and Blankenberg on this opening lap of race 2.
Yeah, Vitfoot is getting out the gates and he is punching. They've got to be careful though, because Ottaviani is growing that gap more and more and already teetering on the edge of a second. Blankenberg does not want to give up that second place easily, but Vitfoot is one of making the most of this opening lap. Huge carnage towards the back end of the field though in the opening lap going through Tosa. A couple of cars running 3 wide. You can see Deitch trying to pick his way past. I think this might be Oak going into the Piratella outside line for the German. He's tried to get the up and under, but no move through as of yet. A couple of people having some huge moments on this opening lap, but thankfully for the majority of the top 10, all's clean, and they've all settled in.
Charlie Monk was one of those drivers around at Tosa, or at least on the inside on the grass. There was an incident that happened there. I'm not sure what happened, but there are a couple of drivers who have lost out a little bit wide there. Looked like from Mihai Nej, who is gracefully not near Noj. I think Noj may have disconnected. His ping may have got a little bit too bad, but I do not see his name up there anymore. Oh my word, that is deep. Was that Streitman's? I know it was Victor Krevi going very deep into Ravazza 1, and he's going to lose a whole host of positions as he emerges back in 15th now. But it's just giving more positions to the likes of Ravner and Peter Daniel and Lerthgren, because Peter Daniel having that horrible race 1 with incident after incident. But this time Ottaviani is getting up the road. He's getting further away from Blankenberg than he was in the entirety of race 1. But Luciano Vitfoot and David Nemchak not letting Blankenberg get away as well. And we do really have a fight on for P2 here.
I think we do indeed. Of course, Ottaviani racing away. I think once they're outside of that slipstream range, Ottaviani, he's gone. It's a race for second at this point. Unless he makes a mistake, which is going to be very rare, he is exactly where he wants to be, which is in front, with no one around him, able to put some lap times down. And unless there are some special circumstances, the next 27 minutes are going to be Ottaviani's to control. We've got Strateman under pressure from Lichtenhagen as they run up over towards the Piratella. Let's see how the Belgian can cope. I don't think Lichtenhagen is going to be able to put any pressure on him so far. You've then got Beckett and Misch, also with Peter Daniel in the mix as well, fighting for this 8th place. So, of course, some good positions on offer, because to finish inside the top 10 of a 30-car grid, it's not bad.
Not, especially for the likes of Lavner, who I think did qualify a little bit further down the order. Lisha and Ohak as well, as we see them fighting. They didn't start in the top 20, I don't think, so they're regressing. Whereas Ohak has the inside line and will take P16 then, and will try and get up towards Villacravia. I said Victor, didn't I? Villacravia, I should say. As he comes towards Ravazza 1. Yeah, Ottaviani looks dominant, 1.4 seconds in the lead. Vitfoot looks like he's been dropped a little bit as well by Blankenberg, which is not what he wants to see, but dominance from the Italian so far in round 1, dominance in round 2. Just a wonder of who can stop him from now. He'll have a good lead in the championship, and he will have to be looking forward to Donington to secure even more points. But Vitfoot now defending from David Nemchak. I think I'd be saying that about 5 minutes ago, but here we are, start of lap 3 in this race, and it is still Ottaviani, Blankenberg, Vitfoot, your top 3.
Yeah, it is. These 3 are just on top form. I don't know how, but these guys are different gravy, let's put it that way. And obviously, you know, don't be led too far into a false sense of security with Ottaviani. Those that can cast their minds back to, was it 21 or was it 22, the Reign Championship? Either way, Ilya Drovesekov for the, I think it was the BMW Cup that they had, won every single race apart from the last one, crashed and lost the championship because of it. So just because Ottaviani's doing well doesn't mean it's in the bag. We still have obviously got today and then the second half of the season to come. Let's see what the Italian can do. I'm just saying that it's never over until the checkered flag drops on the final race when we get to Bathurst. But Ottaviani very much comfortable in his stride and very much just looking dominant as always. He doesn't ever look out of place. He doesn't ever look uncomfortable or that the car is twitching underneath him. He is so fine-tuned into that Porsche. It's remarkable.
Yeah, it really is. It's definitely something to be applauded. Neither you nor I don't think you can get anywhere near any of these guys in this lobby. Of course, this is split one of many. This isn't the only split on show this evening. Of course, this is the only screen split, but there are many others going on below those. The drivers, as we were talking about before, you have got to have a certain reputation to get into this top split, but then there are other drivers, they may just miss out on the top split, but they'll be in the second split as well, and they'll be picking up their own points there, as we see now. Nej trying to get past Petterman. Now that there's only one of them, you can guarantee I'm going to call Nej, both Nej and Noj, because that is just how my brain functions. But Petterman is definitely Petterman, and he's definitely in 5th. Not exactly where he wants to be, of course, was running P3 just right at the end of race 1 before he got overtaken by Vitford. But P5 is still nothing to be ashamed about. Villacrevi now moving his way up to P14. Hlavner was his next target, and his countryman Ohak. I'm going for him down into Tosa now.
Let's see. I don't think he's quite close enough on this occasion, but a nice move from the Finn. Villacrevi, of course, sporting the Finnish colours in a very nice looking livery. Now you've got Gasper Mish under pressure from Petter Daniel as they battle their way. You can see these two up 9 and 12 places respectively, so some big movers in this grid, showcasing the raceability of not only these cars but this track, and also how much it pays to pick your way through the carnage in the opening moments. Just, you know, see a gap and commit to it, and, you know, have that confidence to find your way through gaps and tight places, especially when people are going off all around you. Sometimes, yeah, it is the luck of the draw and time and place and this, that and the other, but, you know, fundamentally it takes experience and it takes confidence to find your way, you know, seeing the sun behind the clouds when it comes to that carnage, and that's what Mish and Petter Daniel have done in buckets. They're a little bit off the top 10 as it stands, but let's not forget that Strateman, well, to be fair, Strateman's been able to get away a little bit from Lichtenhagen, but he himself is going to be potentially defending from Beckett in the near future. So Mish and Daniel, while at the moment they've got about a couple of seconds up the road, doesn't mean it's a million miles away. Now we've got the two countrymen fighting away for 5th.
I actually think, no, it's Nej actually, sorry, through around the outside down into turn 1 as he goes very wide, and Mackenmo should take that position back. Streitmans, the Belgian, might have a look down the inside, but this time around as Lichtenhagen, Beckett and Daniel will be looking at that in front of them and hoping that they can gain a little bit of time up to this little group of cars. 22 minutes left in this race, so still a long way to go, but still a long way to go for Ottaviani to gain on the lead. Of course, 2.7 it is at the moment, but who knows what it'll be at the end at this rate. But at the back, there is some really good battling going on. I mean, we were talking about it last week, Zach, about the next couple of races. I was slightly worried that Imola might be a little bit too tight and twisty. I mean, these cars are great for racing, but it might be that little bit too tight and twisty for some good racing. But I've been proven absolutely wrong this evening, because we've had some cracking side-by-side action all the way around this track. I think at every corner we've seen some good moves made, and I'm very pleased by that, because it just shows that in the RaceRoom Rank Championship you can go anywhere and still have a great race.
Yeah, obviously that's down to sort of the cars that we're in, the drivers that we've got driving them as well. So much respect. I mean, a lot of these guys have been racing at the top level for years and years and years. So obviously they know each other very well. They've got that experience in bucket loads and can deliver some great racing wherever they go. But yeah, Imola, I mean, it was a bit of a curveball. I think it's going to be similar in a few weeks when we go to Bathurst as well for round 4 of this championship. Not really a circuit that you'd tip to be too great in terms of the racing. Fun to drive and a huge spectacle, don't get me wrong, but when you think about it in theory and you think racing maybe not, and then in practice these guys deliver some amazing races, then, you know, it's something that we enjoy watching. And yeah, with the trains that we've had, the defending that we've had, and you know, the sheer amount of talent that's on this grid has made it into 2 cracking races. 20 minutes still left to go as well, by the way. We're only a third of the way through, so we've still got plenty more time to enjoy it as well.
Absolutely do, and enjoy each other's company, of course.
Oh, well, that one as well.
As we see, don't sound too excited. We'll see now. Charlie Monk recovered. Yeah, that's fair. Charlie Monk's recovered well up to P20 after that collision here at Tozer on the opening lap, and now he's going to try and get past Jesper Ontis and Dietz just up in front of him. Of course, different liveries, but very similar liveries as well. I think there was a fight up front there. I don't know if that was Ohak and Hlavner. Indeed, it was down in towards Piratella. They come now. Difficult to make a move there. Nature of a fast corner, but he's got it done. Lisha, I think. And they will continue to try and gain positions, but that's wide from the Slovakian, and here comes Lisha back on him, and the German gets the position back once again, so it's a bit of a yo-yo in terms of position between those two for B16 at the moment, but of course, as we've just mentioned, a long way to go still, and that'll be what Streitmans is thinking on the back of Nash at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. 7th place between, of course, 7th place they're fighting for, probably about, half 7/10 between them as well. Also, so 7/7s for these two. Strateman, let's see what he can do in terms of the slipstream. They've also got Lichtenhagen in the background that they've got to be mindful of. James Beckett as well, not a million miles away, and his Porsche. So if these three begin to fight, this could well turn itself into a 4-car battle. And well, with this race firmly underway, then you've got to start to thinking about your track position. How can you best benefit yourself going forward? And for Strateman, I think that might well be picking his way past Nej and maybe trying to make some inroads to Marvin Mackenberg, who could be putting some pressure on Peterman in the future. Who knows? So you just got to be always putting yourself in the best position, because Dara, when there are lucky moments that happen in motorsport, you've got to be the one that puts yourself in that position to be lucky.
Absolutely. They don't often come around, but when they do come around, you really have to be there. My mind casts back to Lucian Wittfurt himself in Road America last season in the RaceRoom Road Championship. He was in a title fight, I should say, with Enzo Filippo, but went wide at the final corner at Road America, and you could argue that is where his championship came unstuck, and Enzo Filippo was the one who ended up winning that race and in the end the championship. So you're absolutely right. There are very good examples in the RaceRoom Road Championships of past. We'll have to see if that happens again in the upcoming 7 races that will be unfolding in the RaceRoom Road Championship after this one, before and after Christmas. But very much looking forward to all 7 of them, because as we mentioned at the top of the show, every race I should say, is so important, because there aren't many. You've got to get your points in every single round. You have one off round, one off race, you're done for in terms of the championship. So, you know, every week you've got to turn up, you've got to prove your point, and that is exactly what our leader, Alessandro Ottaviani's been doing the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, he is giving himself the biggest security buffer he can, so much so that if something does go wrong, it's going to be easier for him to manage the damage as such. Even, you know, if he has a poor race 1 and he can still bounce back for race 2, he's got the points gap in order to be able to sort of do that at this stage. The only thing that's going to be hurting him is the fact that Blankenberg and Wittfurt are constantly, you know, 2nd and 3rd. So the points differential between the championship rivals is never really going to be huge, so much so that if Ottaviani has a bad round, it could turn itself into a really bad round, because the gap is going to grow, you know, a lot bigger than it has been. If Blankenberg and Wittfurt were sort of down in 6th and 7th and 8th in both races, then yeah, the gap would grow a little bit more and have a bigger buffer. But because they're finishing so close, you can't gain as many points, which doesn't build as big of a buffer, and yada yada yada. So Ottaviani, even more so, is going to have to be fighting very, very hard and winning these races to give himself the best fighting chance going forward. Funnily enough, points do help in a championship that is won or lost by points. Philip Cravey under pressure from Lufgren in the fight for 13th as well. The Swede on the back of the Finn, the Battle of Scandinavia for P13. They've got a bit of a gap up to Gasper Misch, so I think they might just be having their own little squabble for now.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's a bit of a gap back to the drivers behind as well, so they'll feel a little bit safe as to their position unless they make a mistake, of course, which is possible. More than half of this second race still to go, and Villa Cravey taking a little bit of liberty with the outside of the track. Here is Nej, Streitman's on the back of him still. Lichtenhagen not far away either. And as you mentioned, got to be in the right place at the right time. That is exactly what Lichtenhagen will be thinking about. If these two come to blows, he might be able to slip up the middle, parting of the Red Sea, and find his way back to P7.
Let's see. Only time will tell. He is very much looming in the background, but there's not really under too much pressure going into the Tamburello, so Straatman going to have to sit back for now. We approach the half distance mark with 15 minutes left to go, so very much walking out of the woods at this point. So this is really where you have to start thinking about, come on, let's get these moves done, because time starts to tick down and that checkered flag gets ever closer, which is sometimes good news for the likes of Ottaviani and maybe Nej in this particular scenario, but for the likes of Straatman and Lichtenhagen, it's time running out and opportunities that are running thin for them to move their way up the order.
Yeah, absolutely so. As we see a little bit further back, right at the back of the field, P23, Felix Bjorn putting with Kovalevsky into, I think he fought and overtook, I should say, into the opening chicane. The battle still going on to the Villeneuve chicane, and behind Brown and Stephenson, the two Germans fighting. Bredesen, the other Swedish driver, there was a time where it was at the back I saw Swede, German, Swede, German, Swede. A bit of a checkered pattern there. With the moves made, it's just undone itself a bit because Bjorn has improved himself to P23 and will be trying to chase after Clerk 22, but about half a minute off the lead of the dominant leader, who is 2.5 seconds ahead of Colin Blankenberg. Luciano Wittfoot only about a second now behind Blankenberg. That gap has closed. It was up to about 2.5 seconds, but it is now back about 1.3, so it is coming down a bit, maybe a little bit too late, but we saw Luciano Wittfoot make a late move in race 1. Can he do it again in race 2?
Let's see. Only time will tell. Well, time is going to be the biggest teller. Let's see how that gap fluctuates, how it closes, and we will find out by the time we reach the checkered flag. I mean, he got off to a really good start initially, but Blankenberg, to be fair, Blankenberg did a really good job as to thwart the attack of Wittfoot, because he did enough around the outside, albeit I think it is what caused the loss of contention to Ottaviani, because he was out of the pressure range, and Blankenberg and Wittfoot have now dropped them off each other, so it wasn't really worth it too much in the end anyway. But yeah, Ottaviani's been able to get ahead. Here is Leon Leiser. Of course, we will answer your prayers in the YouTube chat. He's under pressure from Martin Havner, but is looking very strong in retaining that 15th place with 13 minutes left to go. Looking very strong, and good battles as well up and down the order.
Yeah, absolutely so. And we love to see there's a at the back between Clerk and Kovalevsky, that will demote them to the back two positions remaining in this race. But as they continue on, we will see Lisha defending from Plavner here for P15. Of course, it's not a top 10, but it's still a good position, especially for some of these guys who aren't always in the top split. A P15 in the top split can be very good and, a great result for them, so every position does count. And that'll be what some of these guys will be thinking here, and fighting for the win, but no one's fighting for the win this evening, because it's just a bit of a procession at the front. They continue on 12 minutes 20 to go, then we'll see how many more laps we get. But now we've got a battle for P4. David Nemček and Petterman going for the outside line down the main straight. Looks like he will have the inside line for the Tamburello chicane. They're going to be side by side, near enough banging doors as they run towards this opening corner, and it will be Petterman with this inside line, and he will have the position on David Nemček, so he'll be pleased to be promoted up to P4. But Nemček, with a good run out of there, might have a bit of a go down into the Villeneuve chicane. Let's see, he'll have the inside line here. He'll have a good run through there. Will Petterman have to give? Yes, he will. It's back up into P4 for David Nemček. Good little battle through Sector 1 from these two, and it's invited Marvin Mackenberg into the fight now.
Yeah, brilliant battling going on, of course, all around, so very much looking forward to seeing how this one develops over the course of the next 11.5 minutes. I have to say that Nemček and Petterman fighting is great news, because gives us a little bit of entertainment to watch. 4th place, not a bad position by any means, and probably the best anyone other than the top 3 are going to be able to get at this point, with how quick those guys are. And now we're reeling in more cars. I don't think Norge is going to be a million miles away, and by extension potentially Straatman and Lichtenhagen as well. So this could be an absolutely barnstorming final 10 minutes if they continue as they are. All depends as to how motivated Nemček is to try and get away, but Petterman, I don't think he's going to be too keen on allowing that to happen.
No, absolutely not. He will try through on Nimchek and just quell any ideas of anybody else taking P4 or 5 off of him. But we now have Streitmans looking maybe for an inside line into Ravazza 1, not going for it there. Nej does give some room on the inside just in case the Belgian had a little bit of a send down into that penultimate corner on the racetrack. But as the guys for 4th and 5th, Nemchek and Petterman, start fighting, it helps the likes of Nej, Streitmans, Lichtenhagen to try and gain up to the back of this little group, and Petterman might look for it once again. Not this time though. Nemchek will hold on to the lead, and Nej will hold on to the lead. Sorry, hold on to P4, I should say. It's not
well,
the lead.
Same thing for these guys.
Well, it's yeah. Well, when it's 1-2-3 from last week, 1-2-3 currently, it pretty much is. But we now see Mish fighting with Villa Cravey. So there is now fighting up and down the field. There aren't really trains forming, but there are still battles going on.
Yeah, a couple of couplets, and obviously with that slightly larger one as well. Mish thinking about it into the Villeneuve chicane. That was well, a thought. Cravey, you can see overdriving the car a little bit of oversteer on the exit of the right-hander at Villeneuve. Let's see what Strateman's stance is in this race. He's on the back of Nej and might be able to pick his way past into 7th place. Of course, the more they fight, the less out, or the more out of touch they're going to be to that 3-car fight for 4th. Looking to the inside of Aqua Minerale as Strateman. There's no definitive overtaking opportunity. You really have to materialise it for yourself. And to be fair, doing exactly what Strateman is doing, putting the driver ahead under pressure and waiting for them to make the mistake.
And that's exactly what you need to do at a track like Imola. We've seen so many mistakes from drivers, just little ones here this evening, that have cost a couple of positions, and it can happen. And the drivers know that, so they can try and apply some pressure to force it to happen. But Simons will be trying everything he can. Time, of course, is starting to run out. He has been here for the last at least 10-15 minutes on the back of Mihai Nej, so he will be eager to start really pressing to make the move stick. But they're just ever getting closer to 4th place of David Nemchek. So we'll have a quick look back to Piatkowski. He's fighting with Felix Bjorn back here for P21 and 22 as they run down towards Ravazza 1. Ilush not too far in front of the Belgian. Very wide line there from Biakowski, may cost him the position, but Lichtenhagen is not going to have the position given to him by Streitmans in the opening chicane.
And no one is rolling over and getting their belly tickled, let's put it that way. These guys fight tooth and nail for every position they can get, because it's points at the end of the day, and points help with the championship. There are prizes to be won, not only for those that finish high in the championship as well, but pretty much anyone across the RaceRoom community. So make sure you're staying in your races, make sure you're scoring those points, because you never know, you might get yourself some good old VRP to get yourself your favourite car and track combo come the end of the season. Petterman under pressure from Mackenberg, but also trying to, on the flip side of things, put some pressure onto Nemchek ahead. 7 minutes 39 seconds left to go. That's probably going to equate to probably 4 more laps, 5 I reckon if we're lucky. That's wide though from Petterman, who leaves the circuit, rejoins just ahead of Mackenberg, who's now potentially got a really good run into the Variante Alta. Not quite close enough, but he's going to be feeling the pressure, and there we go. I think that might be the move.
Is it though? Very wide from Mackenberg. Mistakes do breed mistakes, of course, and Mackenberg rejoins over the grass a little bit. Nej is going to be licking his lips. He has gone from defending to very much an attack. He's got 2 cars directly in front of him who have fallen into his trap at the moment. He's got 5, about half a second in front of him. He has got chance of more points on the cars. He will almost certainly go for it, but Petterman really now has lost contact to David Nemchek, who will be feeling very safe about his P4 now. But you've got a big train now forming. P5 all the way down to P9, 5 cars in it. Petterman, Mackenberg, Nej, Streitmans and Lichtenhagen all going to be fighting away in these final few laps, as that's very late on the brakes from Marvin Mackenberg. Thought he was going to hit Petterman, didn't do it in the end, but now Mihai Nej looks like he's keen to get through.
Of course he is. Of course the potential for a top 5 is on the table, but the train is forming. He's looking forwards, he's looking backwards, he's under pressure, he's trying to apply pressure, and sometimes it can get overwhelming, so it's important to stay composed and to keep your cool in situations like this. Similar to this one as well, Lisa fighting away with Fofana, but also has got Dietz just behind him putting some pressure on. So that's the problem when you're sort of sandwiched in amongst the mix. It's, you know, sometimes more beneficial to be at the back of the train than right in the middle of it.
absolutely, and that is exactly what you want to be doing. Streitmans is still in this train, and he will want to be, as you said, at the front of the train. But he's got to get through Nej, Mackenberg and Petterman. Mackenberg very close together through Aqua Minerali. Petterman gaining a little bit away here. And you can see a couple of different lines towards Variante Alta. Is Nej going to go for an inside line into the chicane? No, thinks better of it. Pulls back into the slipstream. He says that he will wait to fight another day. But all the while, Streitmans and Lichtenhagen gain a little bit of momentum as well, as these four get ever closer together. Beckett a few seconds off. We'll hope that these guys fight more to try and draw him into the battle, but we'll have to see over the next couple of minutes, next couple of laps, if he can do so. Ottaviani, of course, now will be careering through the first chicane. Probably looking at another 3, if not 4 laps to go here. We'll have to see when he crosses the line next, exactly how long there is to go. The likes of Streitmans and Lichtenhagen will hope that there is as many laps as is possible for them to make these moves stick.
Yeah, they're going to want as many opportunities as they can get. Of course, those leading the train are going to be like, let's just do it a lap earlier. You know, I'm not too fussed about that extra lap, boys. It'll be all right. I just want to keep this position, because obviously for the likes of Nej and Strassman and Lichtenhagen, these are going to be the shortest laps of their life. They're going to go by, you know, with a snap of their fingers. For the likes of Mackenberg as such, who are leading these trains, it's going to be the longest, because they're constantly under pressure, looking over their shoulder, and it's going to drag on for a long time. So funny how sort of the time is relative to each of these drivers that are in their respective positions, and how much the pressure and the position you're in can really affect how long the race is going to feel. So, well, Lichtenhagen at the back, he's got everything to gain in this train, so let's see what he can do. Bit of a twitch, it just shows how difficult these Porsches are to drive as well. I mean, they're constantly on the limit.
We know that with only a couple of laps to go, that there's not going to be anything in the back of their minds saying, oh, we've got to start, got to think about where I'm starting for the next race, got to think about not losing too many positions for the minutes to come, because this is it. There's only 4 minutes to go in the evening, and after that they all go home. I mean, they probably are at home, but they all leave their chairs, have a nice cup of tea if they like tea, and then just go to bed. But you know, they've got to get the move done soon. The adrenaline will start to kick in very shortly. If you are Evan Mackenberg, if you are Mihai Nej, Victor Streitmans or Lichtenhagen as well, as they career down to turn 1. What could be, I think actually they're going to have 3 laps including this one. It's going to be close, but I think that will be the case. Lichtenhagen still on the back of Streitmans. Streitmans feels I need to defend, doesn't he? And into turn 1, but it won't be a way through the Brazilian at this time around.
Getting told that there are 2 to go, so this one and 1 more presumably. All depends on when Alessandro Ottaviani crosses the line, which yeah, he is running some very good paces. Fast lap of 1:44.9, which is 4 tenths quicker than Blankenberg and 3 quicker than Luciano Wittwer in terms of their best lap times. There's a bit of a look to the inside from Lichtenhagen, but quite close enough to see himself ahead of Strassman, constantly applying some pressure up and down this small little train. But Ottaviani is absolutely rapid, and that's a 25 kilos of ballast. We have to like do some like percentages. So if you know, we have to stack the ballast. So if you have it for more than a round, you double it or something, just to rein it in a little bit for Ottaviani, because he's so quick. And no, like, this isn't to sort of be against Ottaviani, it's just because we want to fight for the lead. There he is, potentially about to start either the penultimate lap or the final lap, probably going to be closer to the penultimate one, but he's just too quick in this Porsche. Whatever he's had for breakfast, it's working.
Yeah, absolutely is, and yeah, we'll have to see. He's going to cross the line. It's going to be very, very close. He's going to cross the line with 1:48 to go. I think we might have 2. It just depends if he backs off a little bit. He has a good 3.8 second gap back to Colin Blankenberg if he wants to do it. But we'll have to see. It will be a very close thing. Last week, of course, I think we saw Luciano Wittwer cross the line as the timer hit 0 pretty much instantly. So we might see a very, very similar occurrence here this evening. But Blankenberg, he's just running his own race, isn't he? He's not made any overtakes. He's not lost any positions this evening. Neither has Ottaviani. They've just kind of been having a nice, comfortable evening. P1, P2. Not too much going on for them, and they'll take the points very nicely. Luciano Wittwer as well will take the points for 3rd, and so they will march on 1, 2, 3 in the championship once again as we head to Donington for round 3. But Hainej will be hoping to pick up a couple more positions. He runs now behind Mackenberg. Still, the timer ticking down. Is this the last lap? Have they used their last opportunity down at the Tamburello chicane? We will find out in about 45 seconds time, but is looking good for the likes of Vitford. Even David Nemček, of course. Apart from those top three, you'd say best of the rest of this evening, David Nemček. He's driven very well.
He really has. To be fair, I'm not surprised. He's always up there, really looking strong. Is Nemček. He makes those moves, he does what he needs to, he arrives and he performs, and a 4th place is not a bad result at all. Getting word from Christian Orban in the YouTube chat, obviously in regards to our comments about ballast, that with more ballast the car is actually more stable, it plants it to the ground, so maybe people are going to have to start adding more fuel to contend. With this man, Ottaviani, it's going to be close across the line. I think we're going to get one more.
Yes, I think we are 4-3. Yes, we will get one more lap. Just about as he crosses the line with time to spare. Hasn't even got to the pit exit by the time the timer hit 0. That's how tight it was. But yes, Barontis won't be pleased to have another lap to do, because he has spun around and is going to be losing positions in the bucket load between Aqua Minerale and the Variante Alta. But we'll go back up now to this battle for P6. Marvin Mackenberg and Mihai Nej over this 6th position. This is the last lap. This is realistically the last good overtaking opportunity for the Romanian to try and find his way back up into P6. He's got an inside line. He's laid on the brakes. He has that position. A little bit of contact between them. But now Streitmans is looking like he might try and find a way past Marvin Mackenberg in this race. Of course, Nej will be looking just to get away, consolidate that P6. He's been fighting for it the last few laps, but he's waited for the last lap to make it. Unless he makes a big mistake, you have to say, he looks pretty secure in that P6 now.
I think so, because, yeah, there's not really anywhere else he can be attacked as such. I mean, maybe into Ravazza, but that's going to take a great run from Mackenberg, and maybe a small mistake from Nej. As long as he keeps it pointing the right way, it won't matter too much. He can park the car where he needs to, and that 6th place looks to be as good as his. Mackenberg under pressure from Strateman as well, forced to go defensive into Aqua Minerale. Let's see what the Belgian can do. Is he going to go for the up and under? He has a bit of a look, but the run into the second right not quite long enough to see him through. A little bit wide though from Mackenberg, and that could once again put him under pressure.
Lichtenhagen's not going to give this one up either as they come into the final, Variante Alta for the final time. Oh, as Mackenberg will take a cut across it. He feels like he must have got hit across. We go back up to Ottaviani though, as those guys battle away. Mackenberg will give those positions back, but Ottaviani win to start this season in the Porsche Carrera Cup RaceRoom Ranked Championship. Conor Blankenberg second once again. And once again, it's Luciano Vitfurt P3. It's an exact copy of the Race 1 podium, and they will take home the top 3 points. And we'll have to have the ballast again next week. David Nemček, Petterman, and Nej, 4th, 5th, and 6th, with Streitman in the end getting the better of his rivals, including Mackenberg and Lichtenhagen. Petter Daniel will come home P9 as well. Where did he come from? He has gained hundreds of positions, it feels, in that race. How many is that? 15 positions in race 2. Fantastic work from the Czech driver, as Mackenberg will come home 10th. Villacravy 11th and Beckett in 12th. Misch and Löfgren in 13th and 14th as they all do file their way across the line. Lisha 15th. Dite just beating Monk across the line in 16th and 17th. What a race that was in the end, Zach. I mean, 30 minutes of action. It really did come down to the last lap for that battle around the 5th, 6th, 7th mark. But yeah, good stuff from Ottaviani. He's got a commanding championship lead now. Yeah,
I reckon he might just be able to get the top point score for this round. I'm not too sure though. Even Ewan could do that maths. Of course, he's going to be taking the top step and is going to be extending his championship lead. Of course, it's going to be 100 points now the way of Alessandro, with Blankenberg and Vitfurt. Well, I don't know how many Blankenbergs you want on the grid. I think one is enough, but obviously with Vitfurt there in 3rd, those 3 are looking mightily strong. Hopefully it's going to be really close from now to the end of the season. When we go again in Donington, that's going to be a crucial round. That could be where Ottaviani, really puts one hand on the trophy, or it could be the turning point where either Blankenberg or Vitfurt starts to put a little bit of pressure on the Italian.
I think Blankenberg wanted 4 times the amount of points there for the amount of times he finished second. But as you did mention, we will be in Donington in 3 weeks' time for the 3rd edition of the RaceRoom Porsche Carrera Cup. And then after Christmas, we will be at Bathurst for the finale. But next week, we are going to the Braga Cup. We are travelling across the Atlantic Ocean to South America, Brazil, and Interlagos for the Praga Cup. That will be in 7 days' time. Myself and Zaxini will be back once again, you lucky people, to take you through that one. But of course, my thanks to Zach for joining me this evening. Thanks to Mr. Captain Chris Coffey. I've got those words so mixed up at the end there. I think something has happened to my brain in the last 30 seconds. I'm not too sure. I've looked.
Got to deal with him for another week, guys. Oh my word.
I'm very sorry. You just.
We need to have a height limit. Anyone under 5'6" can't commentate on RaceRoom broadcasts. It's the way it's got to be.
There we go. That was what I was. Well, maybe there's a height limit to attend Interlagos. Who knows? But anyway, we'll be there in 7 days' time. I think I've said Interlagos properly and Praga properly. But that's what we'll be. 7 days' time. My thanks to everyone who's watched, of course. We will be back. But don't go anywhere, because the Praga Cup is equally as interesting. 4 great tracks on that calendar. We've got a good championship to develop there in 7 days' time. But for now, thanks for watching.
Do you also feel the same as this car enthusiast? He's reached his vehicle dream, but suddenly the original black wheels seem a bit boring. A colourful detail would add a lot more pep, and a little eye-catcher to match the paint would make the car perfect. Customization options don't only transform the wheel to visually match the vehicle, but also provides one-of-a-kind look on the road. The wheel color, rim protectors, center caps, valve caps, and even the wheel bolts can be configured and designed individually using style components of the new BBS Unlimited wheel system. And here's how it works. The BBS Unlimited base wheels are available in a total of 8 different colors, whether it be a glossy, satin, or polished finish, or from a deep indigo blue to racing gold to a rich bronze. Rim protectors are a colorful detail to visually enhance the wheel, while preventing damage from curb contact. In addition, the rim protectors can easily and quickly be replaced and renewed at any time. In total, 6 different designs are available. The center cap completes the wheel. So how cool would it be if it could also be customized? BBS Unlimited Style makes this possible. It's available in 56mm and 70.6mm diameters, and can be applied in a variety of ways with the BBS logo. The center cap is available in 2D or 3D embossing, as well as in several color variations. And with the 3D rotation cover, the BBS logo remains visible to everyone, even when the car is in high gear. The valve caps complement the wheel in 6 different colors. This gives the individual wheel an even more coherent look. You can even choose the wheel bolt in the last step to match the wheel. Available in black, silver, and even titanium. With the help of the BBS Unlimited style components, you're able to create a work of art out of a conventional wheel, according to your own wishes and ideas. Just take a look at our configurator, and after a few clicks you can already start designing the perfect wheel for your vehicle. Do you have any questions about customization? Then contact the wheel expert now.